Tariffs are being used by our federal government in a very effective way to essentially ensure that there's some negotiations that go on between Canada and the United States.
That is Republican State Senator Ira Hansen, who in that clip was answering a reporter's question about how Donald Trump's since delayed tariffs on Canada would have had an impact on Nevada. Hi, I'm Casey, and I cover politics here at the Nevadan. And Senator Hansen, in an exchange with reporters on the opening day of the new legislative session, took a pretty defensive stance on Trump's tariff plan. Trump is betting that he can use the threat of tariffs to achieve his policy agenda, but economists who I have talked to in the past said it won't be that easy. So with that in mind, let's take a closer look at some of Senator Hansen's points and go through them.
The reality is this: we have a tremendous lumber industry in the Pacific Northwest. We don't need to import lumber. We have a huge energy sector in the United States that have been hamstrung, basically. But the reality is, for the United States overall, this will bring back to our country national manufacturing jobs.
But will it? If tariffs make it too expensive to import goods from China, Canada, or Mexico, most companies will likely look to move operations elsewhere abroad, where labor remains cheaper than here in the US. And even if, let's say, Nike moved a garment factory to the US, it would still take months, if not years, to bring those operations online, likely causing supply disruptions while doing so.
China has, by our standards, no labor laws, no prevailing wage laws, no minimum wage laws, no environmental laws, no minimum time to work. Basically have sweatshop stuff.
Now, it is true that the US has higher standards for wages, worker protections, and the environment than some other countries. Notably, though, Senator Hansen and other Nevada Republicans voted no against the last major bill in 2019 that raised our minimum wage, and he also voted against the 2023 bill to raise the minimum wage specifically for home healthcare workers. He also voted against the bill to establish safety standards during bouts of extreme heat.
If you want to pay less for your cheap clothing, fine, but keep in mind that is actually costing American people work.
Look, I think we all want more jobs and manufacturing in America, but some of Trump's first steps that he took in office were to actually pause funding for infrastructure, clean energy, and manufacturing projects that were set to create thousands of jobs, including some here in Nevada. If the goal of these tariffs are to protect American industry, wouldn't it make sense to implement hyper-targeted tariffs and not go after our biggest trading allies? Republicans are also quick to point out that tariffs are how the US made most of its income almost a century ago, but we have globalized the economy in ways that were unimaginable back then.
Well, there's no question that there is a possibility that some stuff will go up because now you're going to have to pay a decent wage to the people that put those things together.
Remember when Trump said he was going to lower prices, or said that the Biden-Harris administration wasn't doing enough to lower costs? Well, how does this help people who are struggling to make ends meet right now?
And if we want to, again, keep costs way down, we can go back to slave labor, we can go back to sweatshop labor, we can go back to child labor. But because we've got away with those things, it does make American stuff more expensive.
While we might have those protections now, several states have already enacted or are considering laws to roll back child labor protections. Deregulation might help cut some red tape, but it's also a really slippery slope. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.